This is one soccer ball. Not very superfluous. These are 4 soccer balls. And these are 122 soccer balls. Today, I'm going to show you 4 ways you can get an infinite amount of any block, their ups and downs, and what scenarios you can use each one for. And something to know about regarding currently known infinite block glitches. All of them involving share mode have been patched and are useless. So, let's begin. The first glitch will be the old dupe glitch, which was probably originally discovered by Waz. I couldn't find an older video than his, so correct me if I'm wrong. First, let's say I want to extend this cube to another side, and to do so, place a chair on any corner depending on where you want the duplicate to go, and save it. Afterwards, sit in either chair and place a hinge on your torso and a cake in the block you want to duplicate. Unanchor all, and go a good distance in the first stage. And as you can see, the build in the first stage is not affected whatsoever. Now go back to your plot and sit in the chair you did not sit on before. Save and reload the build, remove all the extra stuff, and you're done. You should save it entirely anchored if this is a legit build. Now we are way in the negatives, and these pieces are pretty much welded smoothly. Now here are the pros I have to give for this one. It's mobile friendly since you can also go into first person to steer the fly glitch. You can put anything on the fly glitch and it won't be considered unstable, including hinges and the very quirky soccer ball, and can use this to make builds bigger than the plot. And as for the cons I have to give for this, if you do this glitch the wrong way, chances are that part of your build can get deleted. It's not the fastest glitch depending on the size of the build. You may need to use jets to handle movement, and if you're reliant on the hinge glitch, chaos is bound to happen, which is why I prefer the truss on 2 hinges. I would suggest for this to be mainly used for moving a build from one slot to another, but for duplicating a build on the same slot if you don't want to do the third glitch coming up. The second glitch would be one discovered by JesseTC that utilizes a bunch of pistons to fuse segments of an expensive build. But just as an update note, when he made that video, toggling a piston with piston setting 1 would not actually push something on the piston by 1 stud, but 1.5 studs. Now you can actually set the length of a piston to 2 and it will move whatever you place on it by what number the property reads. So first, place any block down in the sky and scale it for how long you want the segment of your build to be. You can continue making segments of the same scale for how many of them your build may need, but for now I'm going to make quite the expensive build with rusted blocks. I'm just going to add another segment to show the pattern of this glitch. Oh. Out of blocks to finish the wings. So to start with the mechanism, place a wooden rod like so and place a piston facing towards the other segments with piston length 2, and if you're someone like me who would bring their build to the exact edge of the ply, place however many pistons it takes to move the entire build segment out of the ply, in which 2 pistons at a length of 21 would be okay for me to move my 20 stud segment away from my build area. And with that figured out, connect the pistons to the next segment and save everything before proceeding to unanchor all and click the 2 regular pistons to temporarily move 1 segment out of your plot. Yeah, I don't trust that extension length. Just going to add another full-length piston. Much better. Now I regained about 300 rusted blocks and can continue building. And I ran out of blocks again. Now, about that pattern I mentioned, for every new segment you have, you would need to have the same amount of regular pistons as the first segment has, which in my case is 3, plus 2. So first, place a piston at a length of 2, place how many regular pistons are on the first segment, and add 2 more regular pistons to that. Connect them to the third segment, or have a pole that should remain anchored if you don't have a third segment. Once you got those in place, drag the first segment into your plot, anchor all, save everything, and this time, select the 2 segments and any pistons you missed. Unanchor them, push the first and second segments out. Now building can continue once again. 7 minutes later. I think I put more effort into detailing the back of this than the literal other 2 segments. Now that this thing is finished, push all of the segments back together, anchor all, save everything just in case, select all except part of the last segment, unanchor, push all of the segments together, save if it goes successfully, reload, and now you can remove the mechanic from the finished model. Oh my god. Anchor all, then remove the mechanic from the finished model, and now we have a fused build that is made of a bit more rusted blocks than I can afford, welded together perfectly. Also save without the mechanism if initial removal went successfully. And while I have this thing, I might as well fly it into the every rock to exist. Now here are the pros I have to give for this one. If you can follow the add 2, add 4, etc. pistons pattern, you're going to be fine using this. Everything fuses together smoothly when you finish, and it very securely assures that you can continue building for each segment you want out of your plot. And as for the cons I have to give for this, it gets more complex the further down or the more segments you get. It's a fairly expensive model even if you have a decently short mechanism. Having absurdly long segments could actually prove the add 2 pattern to be inefficient, and the pattern would actually change and require manual piston testing to assure each segment gets out of your ply if you are working with different segment sizes. I would more recommend using this glitch for either getting duplicates of items with an easy interface to do so, or fusing parts of a build with segments using almost matching width sizes. The rest of these will be glitches I discovered, but the third glitch will be a piston trowel glitch, in which the way this works is that if the middle of a block is on your ply, it counts against how many total blocks of that you can place. And in this case, I only have 1 legendary chest and cannot place a second one. But if I push that out, I can now place a second legendary chest since the middle of the first one is outside of my building area. So first, place a piston in the air and place whatever you wish on the face of that piston unanchored, or drag a build onto something connecting to the face of that piston if a build is what you would use this for. Move it as close to the edge of your ply as possible, push it out of your building area, make sure your build tool says that whatever blocks you're duplicating have been restored, otherwise cloning will be unauthorized, 3 purple jets in my case, and clone the entire model. You can then repeat this process how many times you want, but keep in mind that if, as an example, you have something like a total of 9 cloned jet turbines and only have 3 in your inventory, you cannot clone 9 turbines since your build tool will not say that you have enough jet turbines to do so. And once you're done, you can move and rotate those blocks as you wish. The game won't care about whether what you're moving is beyond what you have. Now here are the pros I have to give for this one. It's very simple to do since all you need is a piston and a trowel tool with what you want to duplicate, and you don't need to grind for too many pistons just for another singular duplicate. And here are the cons I have to give for this. If you don't have the trowel tool, which I think is like 7,000 gold in the shop, you can consider this a minorly expensive model, and you may need a bunch of pistons for each duplicate if you're trying to clone a very big build. I would recommend using this for if you want to save up a surplus of mechanisms you may not have, or for duplicating a build without needing to use the dupe glitch. The final glitch is more for a pit of non-geometric items that I would call the bucket glitch. So first, place a block in the sky and scale it to be how big you want your box to be, and make 3 other walls depending on how many things you want to clone. Now place a block on the side rotated by 30 degrees and scale it to be the same width of the box and a good length to be able to fit various blocks and things like that. 16 studs should work. Now place an ice block on the bottom corner away from the water and make it point 30 degrees down pointing at the plot, and scale it to cover the entire bottom of the box. Now fly to the ramp of the box, Place a slew of wedges on the top of the ramp, with the bottom ends facing towards the box, and place as many pistons at max length as it takes to make the box go outside of your plot and to make the ramp stay inside your plot. Connect the pistons to the edge of your plot. Now you can save this contraption if you wish to do so. Now select all, unanchor, and push the box outside of your plot. And if you can't place a light bulb, a very intricate block in the box, it works. And if you're not cloning a soccer ball, you will need to tilt and rotate what you're placing by 45 degrees so it doesn't touch the wedge's blank block space. Yeah, and you can pretty much continue doing this for however many duplicates of an item you want. Now I have 54 legendary chests, and to release them, select the wall that the chests are leaning on or would fall towards, turn its collision off, and watch all of those chests pour down. Or not. Sure, Dr. Strange. Yep, that is very much a lot less legendary chests than I should have. And if you want to make moving the blocks in the bucket easier after you finish duplicating them, you can actually link up a speed glitch to the support pole connecting to the pistons, remove the pole connecting to the edge of the plot, and if you're being pushed towards your plot on the ramp, you did it correctly. Now turn that wall collision off, and now everything pours into the plot without any casualties and valuables. Now here are the pros I have to give for this one. You don't have to use the trowel tool to make the blocks slide down the first ramp, or at all with this glitch. And you don't need a funnel to make sure the blocks you want to duplicate get inside the bucket. And here are the cons I have to give for this. This doesn't serve to be much useful for forming a build, and you can actually lose some blocks if you want to bring it back to your plot. I would just recommend using this for fun due to how much of a practical use this glitch barely serves. Now that you've reached this point, here is one extra glitch I have to show. It might be what you're thinking. All you need to do is just stand near the edge of your plot and place soccer balls close to each other in front of you. Reselect your build tool and place down 2 more and 2 more and 2 more and 2 more and you're done. How many soccer balls is this? 76 soccer balls are now scattered across the map. And if you want to up the madness, place down a car seat, make a big hammer with a servo set to 75 degrees in the servo angle and maximum speed and torque. Now place a dome camera and if you're feeling also willing to, place an anchored soccer ball at where the hammer will land and smack the crap out of it.
Money!